Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to the first episode of our new podcast series called Manna from Heaven. What is Manna from Heaven? What we hope to convey to all of you through all of these Manna from Heaven episodes. Manna from Heaven is nourishment. And every single person has a unique way of bringing down nourishment to the world. And so with these episodes, we'll be introducing you to many different kinds of business people, from entrepreneurs to artists to the music industry to real estate, all kinds of people from all over the world. It's very, very exciting episode. Hi, Leon, nice to see you. So today we have two very important, amazing guests that I personally know and adore them. They're both amazing people. So I'm going to introduce them to you one by one. First, we have Blake Mallen. Blake is a billion-dollar brand builder. He's a community marketing expert. He's a TED speaker and the host of the popular Alive by Design podcast. As a serial entrepreneur, Blake has over 2 decades of experience building global companies that have transformed millions of lives in the health, wellness, nutrition, and lifestyle categories. He's speaking at events all over the world, and Blake's latest TED Talk on how to shift the script and his Alive by Design podcast are helping people pursue their meant to and make the shift from being alive to feeling fully alive. And I want to welcome Blake. Really nice to see you.
Of course, Debbie. Yeah, happy to be here. Good to see you. And I hear Eliyahu in the background. And welcome, everybody. Good to see all of you.
And now our second co-host is Ryan Blair. Yay! Ryan Blair is an amazing person. And he's also a New York Times best-selling author of the book Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, and a serial entrepreneur. And Ryan went from a gang member, believe it or not, to a businessman with over $2 billion in company sales. And after decades of building successful companies, Blair began his latest company, Altar Call, which uplifts and helps entrepreneurs scale their companies using spiritual modalities. Where are you, Ryan?
I'm right here. Can you hear me okay, Debbie?
Nice to see you. Very
Debbie,
nice
good to see you.
So excited.
Great to see you, Blake. Yeah.
See there? Okay. And now, very exciting, our host of the Manna from Heaven show. He is a global thought leader. He's a transformational life and business coach. He's a spiritual coach. He's a relationship coach. He's an author of the book, The Laughing Billionaire. And he's influenced a lot of people all over the world. And he also happens to be my husband. So I'd like to introduce you to Eliyahu Jian.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello. What's going on? Here we go. Can they hear me? Can they see me?
Can everyone hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, you're coming through well. Good to see you, Eliyahu.
I guess Mercury is really retrograde. It's affecting. All right, everybody. Welcome, Black and Ryan, and welcome everybody. Manna from Heaven. What the name, right? Manna from Heaven. I'm sure all of you heard about the story about Manna from Heaven in the time of the desert, when the Hebrew slave left Egypt, and somehow God was very merciful, and a lot of great things start happening to them, and it was just amazing miracle after another. Now, I would like just to mention, that in this episode, we will ask a few questions, to Ryan and Blake. We're going to ask a few questions. Here he is back. How are you doing, Ryan? For a second, I said, where is he? Here he is back. So, to see both of your face here, this has really touched my heart. I want you to know it opened my heart large. And I feel it's like whoever believes in that, of course, I'm not here to tell you to believe in reincarnation. I believe there is something going on here. There is something magical. I feel this is my manna from heaven that you both on my show. I feel my manna from heaven is happening right now in this moment. And I'm very, very excited to see you both, because as much as we work together on many projects, I learned from you so much, from the way that you talk, the way you behave, the way that you are. There is so many great things about you. So thank you, million times thank you for coming and taking the time to be here. So again, thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. So guys, I'm going to ask you a few questions, because, when we work with people, there is a lot of time, some idea that spirituality and business cannot be in the same room together. And lately, in the last, I would like to say 3-4 years pre-COVID, while the COVID taking place, people start to prove that that's not right. I mean, you can actually put money and spirituality in the same room. And when we look at the history, whatever it is in the Bible, I mean, people were rich. If we talk about Abraham, he was rich. He had cows, he had sheep, he had goat, everything. Isaac, Jacob, they have money. So somehow the separation between spirituality and, physicality somehow happened. So I would like to ask you, some question with your permission. And I would like to start with who's going first? Who's the brave to jump into the cold water first? Is it going to be Ryan or Blake? Or should I choose?
I think you should choose.
You get to pick. It's your show. We're both here to serve.
All right. It's my show. So I'm choosing. So I'm going to do, this question will be first Ryan. The next question will be Blake. So everybody will be happy. So the question is for you, Ryan, is I would like to ask you, how do you stay, let's say, motivated, when we are seeing that there is a lot of things going on in the world right now, and what we need is spirituality. And you know very well the world of business, and you know very well the world of spirituality. How do you able to bridge those two forces together? What is your secret, if it's okay to share it with the people, and it's something that we'll share later on with so many people all over the world? We would like to hear from you, and please take the mic and share with us your secret.
Yeah, the formula that I have been utilizing most recently is one that is kind of shocking to come out of my mouth, because it wasn't in my character many years ago. In fact, when Blake and I worked together, this wasn't part of my character at all. But as a result of my deep spiritual work, it's become a part of my character, and that's obedience. I don't really have a choice but to either answer the calling that's placed on my life and do the work that's in front of me, or I go through a detour or a delay, and then I eventually answer the calling and do the work. So I've learned the hard way that obedience is the highest form of execution. And so if I'm not financially where I want to be, I run a company with about 30 full-time employees. And if we're not performing at the level that we want to be performing at, it's likely an obedience issue. And so my secret to success is obedience. And I have learned this the very hard way.
Thank you for sharing that. All right. Everybody heard, this is what we got to do. This is one aspect of what we all need to transform ourselves. And it's possible. It's possible to find the connection between spirituality and business. Well, the camera is on you, Blake. I would like to know how you bridge between those two forces together.
I love the question, Eliyahu. Before I answer the question, I got to say, you say your heart's full. I can say I'm just smiling from ear to ear. Ryan, brother, good to see you, not just behind a video, but here in person. I know it's been too long. And Eliyahu, both of us, you've made such an impact on both of our lives and both of our journeys. So the fact that we're both here to celebrate your first episode, this is exciting.
Yes.
I know you have so much knowledge and so much experience that you've given to myself. And I know Ryan would echo the same in our lives, and that you've given to the world. So the fact that you're now making this step, Manna From Heaven podcast, I'm just excited. I'm excited not just for you and Debbie and your family, but I'm excited for all the people that you're going to touch through this message. So, and I know those of you guys that are joining us live right now, you got like the behind the scenes, front row, backstage to the very first episode. It's like historic. So give them some love in the chat box. So I just got to say I'm smiling, and I appreciate the invitation, Eliyahu, and it is something that I'm very grateful to be here with you, and obviously with Ryan as well. So I keyed into your word motivation, like what motivates in that question. And the first thing that comes to my mind is not everybody's perpetually motivated, right? And no matter what we see in Instagram today or the social media world, where we all put on, sometimes this show, or we watch what is the show of others, and we think that we can get into the state where everybody's like operating at a level 10, full motivation, pure inspiration 100% of the time. At least in my experience, that just isn't true. It's not real. Like everybody goes through ups and downs. Everybody goes through seasons in their life when they're on fire, they're ignited. And we all go through seasons in our life where, we're not. So, I mean, I guess I'll answer the inverse. I've found in my experience, I'm not that motivation, not that pursuit, when I'm falling out of what I feel I'm meant to do. And Eliyahu, you and I have had a lot of like personal talks, right, through our friendship over the years, where like we talk about how we as people get stuck in this supposed to, right? We get stuck in like what we feel we're supposed to do based on the pressures that are put onto us. And we all live that script, right? That what we're supposed to do to be quote unquote successful, and the steps we're supposed to follow, or what we're supposed to do to be a good friend or a good partner, or what we're supposed to do to be a good spouse or husband or father. Like it's a never ending list of all these things that the world feels like it puts on us of like what we're supposed to do. And I've slipped into that in my life. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners that hear this, if we really reflect, like we all fall into this trap of trying to be what others want us to be. And the further we go down that direction, the further away from who we really were designed to be, we are. And that's been my story. And, to the opposite, when I've kind of moved in the direction of not necessarily that's supposed to, but more in line with what I kind of say is like are meant to. And we're talking spirituality here. And I know we all probably have different belief systems, maybe different views of what that word means. I think all of us believe there is a higher calling. And I think all of us here are united in that word because we have a belief that we were created for a reason. We're here for a reason. It's not serendipity. It's not, it's not random, it's by design. And if we believe that, then we have this meant to, we have this path that we were created for. We have this thing we were meant to do. And I guess for me, I kind of rounded out by saying that meant to for me is alignment. And it's alignment really in like three things. It's alignment in my passion. So when I'm doing something that genuinely, rawly, purely, authentically excites me, like we're all built or wired with things that naturally excite us, like we're passionate about. We all have different things, but we all have those things. So I think you got to be excited, because if you're not excited, you're not going to get the inspiration or the energy to move forward. I think the second is you got to be in alignment with what I would call your potential. And your potential is kind of a combination of like the gifts that we were all given, the skills we've all developed, the experiences we've all had. And I love that word potential because it's one of those things that all of us, that listen to this, we all have different gifts we were given, but we were all given gifts. We all have different skills we've collected and different experiences through our journey. They're all different, but we've all had those skills and experiences. And you wrap all those up. And to me, that defines like the potential, like how far we can go. And then lastly, beyond like the passion and the potential would be purpose. And again, these are words we all probably have association to, but like my association to purpose means I'm moving in a direction for a reason that's bigger than me. It's about doing something that can make an impact in some way. And that could be one person, or it could be a community of people, or it can be more people. But for me, when you talk about like what keeps you going, if I'm stuck in supposed to, I'm deflated. I burn out. I wear myself down. I'm uninspired. And if I'm moving forward, it's by discipline, not by inspiration. But if I'm aligned with my meant to, and I'm following like what I'm passionate about in my gift zone, like what my potential is, and in a direction that is purposeful, right, I'm naturally fired up. I'm naturally motivated. I'm naturally inspired. So I don't know. That's what comes to my mind in terms of the motivation. And guys, no guilt. Like we all go through seasons where we're in one side or the other. But I think kind of the game of life is to try to stay in that meant to direction, and try to get and keep in alignment with the things that fire us up, the things that we were designed for, and the things that are able to make an impact. And if you do that, I think you find a flow and you find that quote unquote motivation that keeps you going. So anyway, that's what kind of comes to my mind on if that answers your question.
Well, it answered a lot of questions right there. A lot of questions. But I would like to continue asking about what you say, if you don't mind, because it's kind of, you spread kind of everywhere, if I may say it. And I would like to ask you more of a personal question, based on what you say. It was any moment in your life, Blake, when you were unmotivated, not inspired, I'm using your words, not find something what you meant to be doing. It was basically, I don't know how to describe it, like a dark spot, a black hole, like nothing going on. Like this is it, this is the end. And I would like, I mean, everybody would like to hear from you, how by using, I would like to use the word spirituality without associate with religion. How by using spirituality, at least, or mental force, how did you get out of it? If it's okay with you to share something personal, if not, just give us the talk.
Yeah. No, it's so, these are so ironic conversations for me because you and I have had so much dialogues. Like you could answer this question for me probably in a better way. So, but let's go there. Right. So, I mean,
we're doing it for the people. I mean, we do it for everyone, and everyone can learn something. I think people can learn more from the tough moment we go through than the good moment, you know?
Yeah.
The tough moment.
You know, there's a lot, right? And I think there's a lot for all of us if we're open and honest with ourselves, but I'll go one probably more recent, more current, just because I think we all can relate. So I won't dive into like the pandemic deeply, but let's just say that like, guys, it was real. Like what everybody went through was real. The shift was real. And I'm not just talking about like a COVID or a virus. I'm talking about like all of it and the ramifications and the consequences and the fear and the disconnection, and just, it was real. And you know, I found myself going through that season, I guess you could call it in a dark place, right? In a place where, let's just put it this way, as an achiever, and I don't know if anybody listening to this, you put yourself in an achiever category, right? And what I mean by an achiever, if you're someone that likes to like set goals and go after them, you like to create the list and check it off, right? You find yourself constantly, you know, running to a goal, and the minute you get there, you celebrate for a second and you're already on to the next one and the next one and the next one, right? I'm willing to bet there's a lot of us listening or that will hear this that are in that bucket because you're here, like you're pursuing growth. You're plugging in this conversation because you want more and better for yourself. And I'd put myself in that category. And during pandemic, I don't know if this relates to you guys, it's like most of the scoreboard that I was used to measuring my achievement by was not reflecting the numbers that I wanted or that I was used to, right? And that's just across the board. I'm using an analogy, but like, you know, that could be some of the worst financial years of my life, right? Some of the toughest business years of my life, right? Some of the, you know, toughest relationship, you know, years of my life. So all of the metrics by which sometimes we measure our own value and our self-worth by, either consciously or unconsciously, like they were going the wrong direction. And somehow, at least for myself, and I feel like a lot of us get stuck in this lane, we get stuck where we measure our value and sometimes even tie our identity to a number, to a metric, to the amount of commas in your bank account or dollars you've earned or size of your company or things that you've done or things that you've achieved. And you guys, that can work for growth. Like, both Ryan and I, we could tell stories of building companies, right? Chasing that mentality. And like, it can work to drive you up. But the problem with that attitude is the minute you go through a real obstacle or real challenge and the metrics by which you measure your worth go the wrong way, like it can hit you like a ton of bricks. Like it can hit you hard and it can be hard to go through. And Eliyahu, I don't know if you know what I'm about to say. I think you might, because we've had this dialogue, because it was you in one of our conversations. You know what I'm going to say, right? I hope I don't know if you have the hourglass sitting there in your office or studio somewhere. So guys, I was sitting down with Eliyahu having a conversation, and I don't remember the full context, but it was in the middle of the season, right? And I'm sitting there not feeling good, like I said, whatever, dark place, mentally, energetically, spiritually, because of I wasn't in the place that I wanted to be or used to be or thought I'd be at the age that I was, and things were going the wrong direction. And I'm sitting here looking at the scoreboard and everything's going the wrong way, like I'm losing the game. And Eliyahu tells me, well, Blake, that like who you are, like your identity is not tied to what you achieve. It's tied to what you overcome. Mm. And for me, that shift was a shift in everything, because I'd spent my whole life tying my identity, my self-worth, right, who I am to the next achievement. And as all of a sudden I realized that who you are has nothing to do with what you achieve, by what you overcome. And you dig deeper, and that's just so true. Like, the victories are fun, but the trials and tribulations are where you learn, right? The trophies are awesome and you celebrate them, but all the mud you had to crawl through to get there is where the strength was built, right? The peak of the summit is an awesome view, but the strength was built on the climb up. Like, all of this, you realize that it's in what you overcome that actually makes you who you are. We overcome to become. And that just shifted everything from that point, because then I'm like, wow, scoreboard doesn't reflect right now where I want it to, but what I'm going through and what I'm overcoming is greater than anything I've overcome. And that was like an immediate shift where I knew that, hey, maybe we're down in the game right now, but I know I'm building the skill set and the muscle for the next round, the next max, the next game to come out even stronger. So for me, that I say that, and for you guys that maybe are in the same boat, like you're in either pandemic or coming out, or the scoreboard isn't what you used to, or you once were and now you are, guys, it doesn't matter. Like, let the scoreboard go. It's what you're overcoming to become that actually determines who you are, your worth, your potential, and where you're going. So Eliyahu, thank you for that. I know I've mentioned that to you, but I would say that's the most relevant and current that kind of comes to my mind and my heart in terms of that question.
Thank you, Blake. Now we're moving to Ryan. Ryan, dark moment in your life, overcoming your spirituality. I gotta hear. I'm sure you have at least one dark moment that happened. So if you can share it with us, tell us what you did. Thank you for
I went to a special university for those who like suffering, and I've learned from the professor of suffering for quite some time. And my soul on my journey needed a lot of adversity to correct some character flaws that I had been raised with and that I had inherent within me. And so the adversity that has showed up in my life has served a purpose. It has shaped me into the person I am today. And so I'm very grateful for it, where before I felt that I had an unfair amount of adversity. And I've had a number of dark moments in my life, but there was none more dark than when I lost my mother. Blake and I were mutually leading a business at the time, and that was going through a very traumatic period of time when, as Blake had mentioned earlier, my identity was tied to the success of the business. So I, as a man, was shook to the core with regard to my identity. I was facing difficulty in a very toxic relationship with my son's mother, and my mother, who I loved so much, but I had a very difficult experience with her in that, she was sick for 7 years, and I had tried to escape dealing with the pain that I was in by way of self-medication and by way of pleasure seeking, and every deadly sin that you could pretty much imagine I had partaken in for the most part, to try to somehow survive through the adversity that I was facing during that period of time. And I pursued money and I pursued success with a tremendous amount of ego to try to cover up the suffering that I was truly going through, that had gone far back even to my childhood traumatic trauma. And when my mother had passed away, her and I had made a deal that she was going to be my guide in heaven, and that I was going to transform into the leader that I was meant to be. Now, I had no idea that, that I would embark on a journey of total transformation at that time. But I'd gone from having a tremendous amount of success, many millions of dollars in the bank, to no income, no investment income, basically went nearly to zero. And that's when I got closest to my spirituality. There's a reason why Jesus said that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. And that is because the richer that I was, the further I was away from my spirituality. And so all of it was stripped away from me, and I went to as close to zero as I could imagine. And I do have to say that my version and definition of zero is different than my old version. I mean, I still had a house and I still had a lot of luxury in comparison to most people, but I was in total fear and trepidation that I was not going to be able to keep my house, that I was not going to be able to provide for my son, that I was not going to get my son back. And I had no choice but to go as deep into my faith as I possibly could and rebuild my character. And I'll tell you that there's two things, and I reflect deeply on what Moses must have went through in the building of his faith, the detours and the delays that Moses went through. And during the season of my dark night of the soul, when I had to get really close to God in order to pull through it, I knew that I was in a cave, and I knew that the cave that I was in, that there was only one way out of it, and that was to grow my way out of it. And that was when I turned to prayer and breath work and meditation and vocal work and working with nature. And I made a commitment with God in that moment that if he helped me heal, I would help others heal. And that's what I'm here to do today, is help as many people as I possibly can heal. But it was as a result of those dark times. And I will tell you that your adversity, once you've overcome it, once you've extracted the lessons from it, then it can become your spiritual authority. And so the man that I am today has a lot of spiritual authority in a number of different subjects, and it's all correlated to the adversities that I have faced and overcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we continue with you. And thank you for being open about all the details that help all of us to open. When one person opened the heart, we feel like we want to open the heart. It reminds me, a dark moment in my life. I was in Chicago before giving a big lecture, and here people are waiting for my lecture, but I'm not in a good place. And I remember finding myself meditating when my helper is looking at me at that time. And I was not married, I was single and famous, but it was not helping me. And I was talking to a tree. I went that low. I started talking to a tree. That's a true story. My friend looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Listen, I need that 5 minutes to talk to the tree. I got to have a conversation." That's what I tell the tree. I say, "Listen, I think I'm losing my connection with the divine. Something is wrong with me. I don't love myself. I don't find that I'm good enough for people. I don't find that I can give enough." And it will sound crazy to some of you, but about 25 minutes after that conversation with the tree, everything opened up. I could not tell you what happened. And I don't know which kind of tree in Chicago, in the area called Skokie, what happened there, but that's just unbelievable. So thank you for being open. It made me feel I can be open as well. So the next question is to you, Ryan. We know that on Sunday night, that's the beginning of the moon, it's the creation of Adam and Eve. The Jewish people celebrate it, and all people celebrate it, actually, not just Jewish, with a holiday called Rosh Hashanah. But most people don't know the meaning of Rosh Hashanah. It's basically the birth of Adam and Eve. That's really what it's all about. And at that time, heaven is open to wish for things that you would like to have in your life. Now, The book is open. The voice is listening right now. The hand is writing. The angels are waiting for you, Ryan, to wish something for yourself. We would like to hear it because, it's written in the old books from 3,000 years ago. When somebody is wishing for something, and there is enough people that listen to it, their ears will turn that thing that you're wishing for to be absolutely happening in your life this year. So we would like to see what is that you're wishing for yourself for this year, right? Please share with us so we can pray for that.
I would just, if I were to make a wish, I would wish for the character and the competency to lead my team to its full capacity. And the wish that I have is for my team to evolve and to grow into their very best. And, and so as of this stage of my life right now, I'm spending most of my time praying for my team, praying for my clients, and as a result, I'm receiving blessings as well. So I pray for the character and the competency to be able to answer the calling that has been placed on my heart.
Okay, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. We will pray for you to make sure this is happening, because that's what we're doing from Sunday night till Tuesday night. That's what we'd like to do. So first, thank you for being open and open us. And thank you for sharing what you would like us to pray for you. So thank you for that. Okay. Same question for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same question for Blake. I mean, here the book is open. You can ask for anything. And guys, if you want to ask for money, it's not a problem. We will pray for that. I mean, after all, the show called Manna from Heaven. So even money coming from heaven. It's not just spiritual thing, everything coming from heaven. Money too. So here you go. Blake, what would you wish for yourself so we can pray for you?
Well, I'm still actually feeling Ryan's story. So Ryan, I appreciate you sharing that. The photo of me, you next to your mom in the hospital, Facebook reminds me every year. That one photo always pops up every year on Facebook, and it like makes me cry again. But you've always had the ability to share vulnerably what you're going through in a way that is not only open and honest, but inspires and moves people. So it's awesome to hear you doing that at the level you're doing it at right now. So we appreciate that. What'd you say?
By the way, wait, Blake, before you go, I got to tell you, I still have the blanket that you made for me, and I still proudly have it hanging in my room, and it has a picture of me, you, and my mom, and some other things. And you can't see it, but behind me, there's a frame that you made for me, and it has the photo of me, you, and my mom, and photos of you and I together, and it still hangs in my house.
You're gonna make me cry. Stop it.
I'm crying. Everybody's crying here. What's going on? It was becoming emotional.
No, I appreciate it. And Eliyahu, I've never heard anybody say, what'd you say when you open your heart, you allow others to open theirs? Is that the way you just said it?
Yes. With one person opening the heart, then it make the other person, because the heart chakra, we will talk in a different talk show, we're going to talk about the chakra. But the heart, actually, when we open it, what's beautiful about it, the person next to you opening the heart as well. That's what's beautiful. So when we pray, normally when we pray, we put the hands here next to the heart to say, I'm here becoming a servant, and I'm here to open my heart so other people open their heart, because the divine want to give all the light, all the beautiful things. That's really what it's all about. So what would you wish for yourself, Blake?
So I'll tell a story, and I don't know if the story is even fitting for this audience. But I'm going to tell a story because it's a story that comes to my mind because we're talking about manna from heaven. And Eliyahu, I don't know what heaven is. I don't know what heaven looks like. And I don't even know if I have my own, imagination or vision of what I even think that might be. But I have this feeling, and, I had someone share a story a while back that kind of planted a seed in my head that, like, whatever it is, wherever heaven is, and however we get there, God willing, one day all of us are, like, there's this moment where we go to the other side and we're in this place, and the first person that greets us is like our ultimate self. It's like you, right? Or for me, it's me, but it's It's like the ultimate version. It's the meant to version of me, right? It's the me I was created or designed to be, or Eliyahu, it's the you that you were created and designed to be, or Ryan, right? The you were created and designed to be. Like, we all meet our potential. We all meet our meant to me. And my hope, and I get chills just sharing this, like my hope, my wish, my prayer always is that when I'm in that moment and I meet like the person I was designed to be, the ultimate me, the potential me, the meant to me, I hope that me recognizes me. Like, I hope that me says, hey, like, you made it. I see you. Like, we're here. And not that me looks at me and says like, I don't know who you are. Like I'm the you that you were meant to be, but I don't know what happened to you. I don't know you. And when I say the meant to me, guys, that's everything. We're talking about like success and spirituality, but like that's rich has nothing to do with money, right? Living a rich life, in my opinion, has little to do with money. You need it. Like, don't misunderstand me. You'd rather have it than not. And we've all, you listen, but Ryan and I have been on both sides of it a couple different times. Like, you'd rather have it than not. It creates options. It makes you more of what you are, but that doesn't lead to a rich life. Like, there's so much more to a rich life. The relationships, the love, the connection, your family, the experiences you have, the moments you create, the growth that you have, the contribution that you have, how in touch you are with the spirituality. Like, that's what rich is. Like, that's a rich life. So for me, Eliyahu, that's what drives me every day. What drives me is that feeling of, I want to perpetually be moving to whoever I was created to be, whoever I'm meant to be. And as long as I don't have to be perfect, I don't have to not mess up and I don't make mistakes, but as long as I'm moving in that direction, taking steps forward, so that if and when, God willing, we're in that place, I meet that future me, like, I can say I've been chasing you. Like, that's what I wish for. And the fear of not that, and the fear of opposite, like, that wouldn't be heaven to me. That would be hell, is getting there and basically saying like, this is who you could have been, what happened. So that's my prayer, if you frame it that way. And what I wish for, not just this year, but like every year, is the strength and the environment and the relationships, right? And the experience and the lessons to perpetually move toward, who I was meant to be, whatever that is, and whatever that may look like, to do what I was created for. So that's what I would wish for today, this year, and hopefully every day until I'm in that moment.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for opening your heart to us. And it's very beautiful. We're all going to pray for you to meet your full potential, while you are here, not in heaven, even before heaven, because manna from heaven. So the manna will come down here. So I will continue with you, Blake. You talk about the COVID before, the pre-COVID, during COVID, after COVID. Success, people went up, people went down. Some company actually made it better in many areas during the COVID. And now the question that doing the job that I'm doing, advising so many people, lately the question that people are asking, and maybe it will be great for everybody to hear the answer from you. What do you feel the universe is going toward? And I'm not telling you to predict the future, but I'm sure you're feeling it, business-wise, from a business point of view. What do you think we're going? I mean, is it better for a person to join a team and basically just be part of a team? Or for the near future, it will be better to go ahead and just do it on your own because you're capable, you're smart, you have a little bit of money to invest. So what according to you, there is no right or wrong question. What do you feel it's the right approach right now after COVID is over? And here we go, everybody's running. I mean, I live in New York now, and people start coming back to New York. The streets are full with people, and people are running towards something, but some of them get confused. Am I running to join a group, or am I supposed to build a group? It's a question. Again, there is no right or wrong, so whatever you answer will be good.
The first word that comes to my mind when you're like, where is the world moving toward? What do you feel? If I'm going to answer in one word, it's connection. I think the world is moving toward connection. And I think one of the lessons you probably gave to me in one of our talks at some point that I live by today is it's like, be grateful for what you have or it will be taken away. And the period or season we went through, we had our connection taken away. It got taken away. Like our physical ability to have proximity and community, like something that you would think would be a God-given right every day, like it got taken away. And the very thing that got taken away, in my opinion, whether it's conscious or subconscious, has shown to all of us or reinforced to all of us how much we really need each other, how much we really need connection to one another, how much we really need community around us. It's the unknown need. You know, when you ask somebody like, what do you need? What are your goals? You know, you have like the obvious answers of I want this amount of money or these amount of things, or I want to go to these amount of places or do this, you know, give to this amount of, you know, people. Very rarely on the list on someone's goals or priorities is community or connection. But it might very well be the greatest need we all have. It's the unknown need. And I think if there is a gift, right, out of this last season, it's hopefully a realignment of values and a refocusing on the need and appreciation for one another, community, connection, proximity, environment, as the very thing that helps us move to where we want to be. So that's what comes to my mind and my heart, Eliyahu. And that's for us as people. It's our relationships, but it's also in the business world, right? If we're putting on our entrepreneur hats here, we're all entrepreneurs. Like, I think my crystal ball says, find a way to build a brand or a mission or a cause or a product or whatever you're passionate about that brings people together in a way that creates real, authentic, genuine connection. You're going to have more than a product, right? You're going to have a movement. And I think the brands of tomorrow, the products of tomorrow, the successes of tomorrow in business, they're more than companies, they're communities. And I think people are going to appreciate that now more than ever. At least that's my hope.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with us. Now we're moving to Ryan with the same question. Let me repeat the question in different words. You know, pre-COVID, during COVID, you know, a lot of things happen, a lot of things change, and people start raising some doubts. People are kind of getting confused. Should I go for it and build my own company to be about me, and me? Or should I join other people or other group? Or like Blake said before, building a community together, and from that, we will grow. Where do you feel, and related to the business, if it's possible, where do you think the business world is going to be in the near future?
Yeah, well, you know, Blake and I went through the 2008 recession together. And as a result of that recession, we changed our business model, we changed our messaging, we changed everything about our company. And we met the new consumer where they were at with a new offer and a new product in the industry. And as a result of that, we had tremendous success and grew very fast. Right now, we're going through a tremendous shift. The consumer is going to shift. I consult with a lot of companies that hire a lot of people, and some large tech companies that, you know, are significant in size. I work on the inside of the walls with, and they're all freezing hiring. They're all slowing down hiring right now. In fact, today, one of my clients' revenue was cut by 50%, and it's a significant, you know, tens of millions of dollars was cut by 50% because of hiring freezes across the board. The world is going to step into a recession, and we're obviously already facing massive amounts of inflation. The Fed increased the interest rates, which is going to impact mortgage and real estate and going to totally radically shift that environment. The shift is already occurring, but mortgage and real estate were some of the biggest drivers of the economy coming out of COVID. So right now, I think that we are going to go through a very difficult time, and entrepreneurs that are seasoned and capable of thriving in a high-risk environment during difficult times can create solutions that the marketplace needs. When a shift occurs, the people that actually meet the new consumer right? The people that get ahead of it. If the consumer is going to change from a spending mindset and from a luxury mindset to a savings mindset, if a consumer is going to start to actually really care about how they spend their money, and all of a sudden a new product or a new offering emerges during that time, they can meet the consumer. And so while big companies are going to have to retrench and many companies are going to go out of business, there's going to be a whole shift that's going to happen as a result of the war and the recession that's looming here, the elections that are happening in the United States, and as well as some other spiritual things that are occurring. So if I were right now just starting out, I would join a group unless I had an idea that was going to thrive in a recessionary environment. Now, if I had an idea that was going to provide value, unlike the existing solutions in the marketplace, and I realized that I could provide value at this time that the existing solutions can't, then I would take that idea to the market. And many great companies have been born out of difficult times. In fact, difficult times are the best time to start a company, because you're going to learn, you're going to have in your ethos, you're going to have discipline that you don't get in frothy times. Difficult times create strong relationships. Difficult times create innovation. They create a bond that is unlike anything ever. And Blake and I experienced it when we went through a very difficult time in the 2008 recession. The innovation and the hard work that we put together turned us into, one of the most successful companies to come out of the 2008 recession. So if you're right now contemplating starting a business for the first time, I would factor in, are you prepared to do it in a very difficult, very adverse environment? And if you're not, then join a group and join a group that's prepared to do it in a very adverse and very difficult environment.
Thank you so much. This is a very clear and very important piece of information for everybody that can help people right now, specifically whatever happened today with what you mentioned in the business world, in the stock market, real estate, and even if people go short, it's still the short will not help, as you say, because eventually whatever come after that will short them. So it doesn't matter if you go short and win for 5 minutes, because. So the next question is I will tell everybody the surprise. I need to surprise you with some question. So I would like to ask you, and I'm thinking about what to ask you as the last question. That will be our last question for today. And it's something that I was thinking about 15 years ago. I was in Florida, and I went to a difficult time because I was living in New York at that time, very successful. And then I've been asked to go and build the same concept in Florida, not in Miami, Florida, if you know the area called Boca Raton. So to build something in Boca Raton was a little difficult to build that concept of thing I'm doing, the coaching, the meditation, the spirituality that I build wherever I go. And it was a difficult time. And I came up with that question at that time, and I would like to ask you that question, Ryan. If you have 5 minutes with God, personal time, you and God alone, just imagine it for a second. What would be the conversation like? That's what I would like to hear. What would be the conversation like? I like the smile on your face first. It's a good one.
I would ask, I talk to God a lot, and I don't always get a direct response. So if I had an opportunity to have a direct response with God, I'd ask him, how did you do it? Like, I'd ask about what was the creation before the creation? I would be asking questions about the questions that I had. I'd ask God, what questions should I be asking you, right? I try to ascertain as much information as I possibly could if I had 5 minutes alone with God. I have had experiences where I have felt the presence of the Creator. Recently, my son and I both got COVID, and he was hospitalized, and I couldn't hold the burden myself, and I was really worried. They were talking about emergency surgery, and so I turned it over to prayer, and I reached out to my community on Instagram, and I watched, a tremendous outpouring, and my spirit was lifted out of COVID and my son's spirit was lifted out of the hospital. And so I've had many of circumstances where I've had a direct experience with God, but never one where I got to have an exchange for 5 minutes. So, if I did have the opportunity to have that exchange for 5 minutes, I would ask the author of the soul, how did you do it? And I'd ask as many questions about how you did it as I possibly could to learn as much as I possibly could about the genius of the creation of our Creator.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's amazing. I love that it brings smile on our face when we talk about it. And I remember what it did to me in Florida when I moved my family with 3 kids, babies, and we moved to Florida. I remember my wife looked at me and said to me, there is frog in the garden. I said, yeah, this is frog and lizards. I mean, you move from New York to Florida, there's something. And I couldn't solve for 6 months what's going on. I remember myself went to the beach and say, I need 5 minutes with God. You got to come down. I mean, I got to talk to you. We have issues here. So thank you. Thank you so much, Ryan. Blake, your 5 minutes with God, what would it be like?
Can I ask God for more time, or can I?
That's you. That's Blake.
Can I ask him if I can get the 5 minutes next week so I can spend a week thinking about my 5 minutes?
This is funny. Okay.
I loved Ryan's answers. He got me. He took where I was going with it and then expanded my thought process. So I loved what Ryan said. I mean, I would want to know okay, where did everything begin? Where did this start? I'd want to know, where are we going? So where's this whole thing going? And I'd want to take a couple minutes to understand where this began and where this is going. And then I'd be selfish. So if I had a couple minutes with God, after I got the big global macro worldly view understanding, I'd be straight selfish. I'd be like, God, please just give me the cliff notes on what I'm supposed to do here, what I'm meant to do here. Can you just give me the 1 minute version of what I'm here for, so I don't have to second guess myself if I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing, or on the path or off the path, or why did this happen? What does this mean? Was this meant to? Is this supposed to? Just give me what I'm meant to do, so I can just let all of that go effortlessly and move in the direction of what you created me for. So I don't know. Those are the first things that come to my mind, Eliyahu, outside of asking for more time and following up. So I love the question, Micah. We have to ask you, so you can't put that on Ryan and I, and us not put the mirror back on you. So if you had 5 minutes with God, how would you answer the question? We got to round out with you answering your surprise question. I want to hear your answer.
Well, the way I answer this question, and thank you for putting me on the spot. I love that. So the idea for me, when I meditate, when I pray, 5 minutes with God, I would ask for a chance. I would ask for a chance for humanity. And I would ask for, when I pray, I said, we need to give chance for humanity to heal. We went through some heavy stuff, and I know the higher wisdom, it's good for us. But there is some people who kind of falling apart, and I would like to ask God for permission in that 5 minutes, if it's okay, even I don't know better than God, if it's okay just to give us 1 year, to give us next year, a year of things go smoother for all the things that went in the last 3 years. So I would be a little bit one of those that knock on heaven's door and say, hey, excuse me, I need some milk or sugar, health, healing in this spot. Because I feel that God is our Father and he's waiting for us to knock on the door, So some people kind of embarrassed to ask for things. But think about it, that the Creator has everything and he's just waiting for somebody to ask for part of that everything. That's the way I'm looking at it. And it's funny, I mentioned it one time in a speech in Boca Raton, and the students were so affected by that, which I didn't know that. And they bought me kind of a booklet, and they say to have 5 minutes with God by Eliyahu Jian. And they asked me, please start writing the book. I was in a different mindset. It was a different time. And I remember I started writing the book and then I stopped in the middle. It's something that I need to finish eventually. And it's an important subject for me. So it touched my heart every time I'm thinking about 5 minutes with God. But I would like to, again, wish Ryan, wish Blake, first, thank you first to agree to come and be part of Manna from Heaven. And may the Manna from Heaven will go with you wherever you go. It will be available for you. It will be accessible. And may God put you in a position that you will lead so many people for a better life. Because I know both of you and I know how much you care about people. There's so much beauty about your soul and so much wisdom and so much knowledge. You not always meet good people and wise people in one body. You both got it within one body. You got it both. So I would like to say thank you so much and appreciate you so much. And may we will do something together with all the people so we can have 5 minutes with God within the group. So I appreciate your time and thank you so much. And I would like to say also, thank you for everybody who joined. If there is, there's people who ask me some question. Okay, we'll go into some question. Here we go. What am I missing? How can I improve? There is more love that I can receive and give eternally? So that question is a big one. This question is a big one. And let's understand what mean internally. I hope I'm going to answer it correctly. So the idea is, if that question was related to me, internally and externally is a very different achievement in life. You know, when we achieve something external, as Blake mentioned it in the beginning, you know, it's something that you can see with numbers, with the quality, with the fancy restaurant, fancy car, and all this and that. It's very easy to see with the five senses. Internally, it's not something you can experience with the five senses or the time or the place. It's actually when you close your eyes, that's internally. When you shut down the five senses, you're going back inside. And inside there is an all new you. And that's the part that needs to be developed. So if let's say I'm lonely and I'm looking to date someone, most probably you're going to date another lonely person. Because like attract, you know, you're going to attract the same personality. And then you're going to get angry because how come there's a lonely person? I'm a lonely person. I was looking for a good catch. So you got to love yourself from inside. You got to go in and forgive yourself. The first step is to forgive yourself. We're not here to become an angel. God doesn't want you to become an angel. There's two types of people that come to the world. The one that meant to be a leader and spiritual leader and the best in everything. And then there is the type that's supposed to be the warrior. The warrior are very important to the divine. They are the one who fight, and they are not even achieving 40% of what they wish to have. But that's how the divine designed this universe. He wants both. And he actually liked the one who are the warrior more than the one who achieve. Because the one who are fighting, and they know they give everything. They look at the other person do 2 hours and achieve in 2 hours a month everything they try to achieve in 1 year. And they don't get it. The beautiful thing is like that. You know, think about God as a father, as a mother, as a parents. You know, you look at all the kids. You know, the one who make it doesn't need a lot of attention, but the one who struggle, God is with them more. That's what internal mean. So I hope I answered that question very well. Again, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for joining us for Manna from Heaven. And in the next episode, we'll make sure that you're all going to be on it. And it will be a lot of excitement.
October 12th.
October 12th. Debbie mentioned to me to make sure it's October 12th. And will be the guest.
The speaker is Daniel Tinker.
Oh, Daniel Zinker. You know Daniel Zinker. What of you know Mr. Zinker? All right. So thank you, everybody. And thank you for joining us. And hope to see you in the next episode. All the best. Thank you. Thank you, Black and Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.